dear friends. I'm a membership of the Student Association of Physical Therapy of Ukraine, and today we have an interview with Rosalie. Rosalie is the student of the Utrechт University, which is in Nederland. Well, hello.
Hi.
What do you study here?
Yeah, I'm a fourth year physiotherapy student. I will graduate in August. And I started here because I'm an athlete and I wanted to help people get better, but now I'm hoping I get to work in a hospital later.
Oh, cool. What is the average tuition fee in the Netherlands for the physical therapy specialty?
It's 2,200 a year, so about 8,000, 9,000 for one bachelor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's excluding books. It's just this tuition.
Mm-hmm. How do you think, how much programs are in the Netherlands of PT?
Well, it's quite a lot. In all major cities there's at least one, so let's see, about 7 in the big cities, and then we have some private education. It's not a big country, so for the Netherlands, 7 different cities is already quite a lot.
So, very good. How much are girls and boys in your group, and could you say this proportion of the students?
It's a little bit like 50-50 or 60-40. Mm-hmm. In my class there are a little bit more girls, but there are also quite a lot of boys, but most of the boys are athletes or do something with bodybuilding or sports. But Utrecht is also a city with a lot of girl students, so there's like 60% girls and 40% boys just in this city alone.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I know in other cities it's a little bit more even.
I think in Ukraine we have the same situation.
More girl students?
Yeah. Especially now we will be 10 girls
and 2 guys.
Yeah. Yes. Are you teacher physical therapists or doctors too?
No, they are physical therapists. There are a few psychologists for the communication lessons, and we had lessons from I think 1 or 2 medical doctors about certain diseases and how to read x-rays and stuff like that. But most of them are either occupational therapists or physiotherapists. But they do all have a master.
What is the average age of your teachers in Nederland?
Oof, that's very, very wide. I think most of them start at around 27, 30. Because you need to have a master first, and most of them graduate by 22, and then the master takes 3 years. But I also have some teachers who are 70. So they've been working at the university for like 40 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have guest teacher from other country, from other university in your university?
Yeah, sometimes we get medical doctors from other universities, and I know our school is really working on international relationships right now. So we have an international course with Croatia and Spain right now, where we got some lectures from teachers, and I think something with Denmark is on the planning for next semester. So they are trying to bring it more into the curriculum, but it's not standard yet that we get international teachers.
Thank you. Well, also, I have one question about approximately what is the number of students who do not graduate, and probably you don't know definite percentage, but why they graduate, and which percentage, if you know?
I don't know exactly. I know in the first year, 200 students start, and then the second year they have about 100 to 120 left. So quite a lot of people drop out, about 40%. Yeah, because the first year, a lot of people discover that it's not really what they want, or they see something else they're interested in. So then after the first year, it's very easy to change studies. After 2 or 3 years, it's not anymore. And I think about 80 students graduate within 4 years. So let's see, from the first year to the end, that's about 40% less.
Thank you.
I'm really bad at math. I don't know if it's right.
It could be. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you, which resources do you use during your studies? Probably like a Physiopedia or online materials which provide your teachers. Which resources you use usually during your studies and during the practice?
Yeah, we mostly use Physiotrack, I think it's called. They have a really big database with exercises that you can also give home to patients. So we use that. We have an online environment called Canvas, where the teachers post their assignments, puts scientific articles there, and preparation for exams and stuff like that. So that's for just the students. And we have free access to PubMed. So I think everybody uses that, the International Scientific Library. And we also have free access to the university library to borrow like scientific books.
Can other students from not your university use library, university library?
I don't think so. Maybe some in the country that are connected to the university. But I think you actually need to be a student. I know that. And maybe one or two other sister universities can also borrow the books, but I don't think a lot of people can.
Well, tell us about the scientific components in your study. Should you write some scientific work?
Yeah, we have to write our thesis at the final year, and it's not as scientific as you would do at like university, because this is applied science university, but they do want you to learn about research and how about scientific methods work and see if your research is valid or not. So we do get some, but it's not as profound as you would do in a university. And we do focus on evidence-based working in our classes and in our therapy that we give to patients. So we always look for, is what we do based on science? Will it work? The science says it works.
Thank you so much.
Do you study therapeutic modalities like electric stimulation, magnetic therapy, etc.?
No, like electric stimulation, yes, but magnetic therapy, no. I heard about that like a month ago. I had never even seen it in practice or what it exactly does. So that's really interesting. But we do have, I think, about 4 lessons where we use electrodes for muscle stimulation and, 2 lessen pain. And we have a few massage lessons, not that much anymore.
Oh, cool. Thank you. By the way, about practice, which type practice do you have, and on which year you have, if you have different type, for example, cardio rehabilitation on the second years and neurology rehabilitation on the third years? What about it? And
like in the internships or just in general?
For example, in Ukraine, after the theory part, after the session, after the exam, we have a practice part on different hospitals. Yeah, it is very different term. Yeah, but what about Netherlands? Which type of
Well, you have the first 2.5 years is theory, and
just
then
theory, no practice, right?
a little bit. The first year you have 6 days of practice, and that's more to see like how does a physiotherapist work? Do you like it? We call it a snuffle stage, like to sniff around if you like it. Yeah. And we have 2 semesters, and then the semesters are separated into 4 blocks. So in block A, there's also often like muscle skeletal. Block B might be chronic diseases. Block C might be heart diseases. So every block is a different topic. And in year 2, you have a 10-week internship. We call that our junior internship, where you follow, I think, 2 days a week with a physiotherapist, and it can be anywhere you want. You can just get randomly placed somewhere. And then it starts more like You practice your clinical reasoning, how you explain certain treatments to a patient. You work on how to do a physical exam, and that all with like a teacher looking over you. And then in the 3rd and 4th year, those are the long internships. And then you need one in a first line practice. So that's a practice where patients can just walk in the door, say, oh, I have pain in my neck, and then they follow treatments. And in the second internship is in a hospital or rehabilitation center. So that's the only difference that has to be. And it doesn't matter if you follow a lung one or a heart one, you just need to follow one of those, for example.
Thank you. Well, is a bachelor degree enough for a job as a physical therapist, or
Yeah, for like if you want to be a general physiotherapist, it's enough.
What will what will change if person will gain master degree as different salary or not, or the same?
No, you can. If you have a private practice, you can hire your own salary, but if you're in someone's payroll, then it's the same. But for you can do everything once you've done the bachelor. So like a pelvic physiotherapist, you can only become that once you've done the master, or a hand physiotherapist or a cardiac physiotherapist. So like really specific areas, you need to have done the master. And you also need the master if you want to become a physiotherapist teacher.
Thank you.
So it is like, yeah, for the specifics, it's really important, but if it's just general, it's not really matter.
Okay. How long is average education each day?
Each day? Depends. First year, it's long. First year, you have 4 days a week lessons from 9 till 4. After the second year, it's a little bit less. And then the 3rd year, you only have 3 days a week, mostly from 9 till 4. And then in the 4th year, you don't have any lessons at all because it's the internships. You have some, but only once in the 2 weeks, and they're 2 to 3 hours.
Can the physical therapy students work as a physical therapist assistant, and from which year they can work, if they can, and they are there any restrictions about it?
I'm not sure about the restrictions. I know you can work as a physiotherapy assistant. I think they prefer it that once you've done the 3rd year, so you had all the theory behind you and you did at least one internship. So you know a little bit about patient contacts, but you don't need a degree or anything yet or something special. Just what the first year must be done, and 2nd year plus 1 internship.
Thank you. I want to ask you, I know beside the university there is University Medical Center. Tell us more about it, about this medical center. Do you have practice there?
You can follow an internship there, but it's a really high-end internship, and they get about 60 applicants and only 4 spaces. So it's a study university, so students, medical students, but also physiotherapy students can come there to follow their internships for 20 weeks. And then they hopefully end with a good grade. But because it's so sought after and such a high graded internship, it's really difficult to get in. But from what I hear, because it's really close to the school as well, and the connection with the university, it's really good. That it's once you graduate there, it looks really good on your resume.
Do you familiar with other association of physical therapy? Do you have association or student association of physical therapy in Netherlands?
I think we do, I'm not sure. I know we have like the Royal Fellowship of Physiotherapists, and you can join them as a student, but I don't know if we have a separate one for students. A friend of mine joins the Royal Fellowship, so that's a little bit like what you do, I think. It's for all physiotherapists in the country, and students can help give perspective on the education part of physiotherapy.
That's interesting. How do you think that knowledge which you gain at university, it is enough to be a physical therapist?
Yes and no. I know a lot of people, once they start, they're quite worried that they don't know enough, so they would like to have like a coach or someone working in their company would help them a little bit. I am happy we have a lot of internships, because that does help you prepare for the working field. But maybe that's just because I'm always worried I don't know enough. But I think our education is quite good. We touch all the subjects at least once, and you do have a mandatory duty, I don't know, for like a year and a half of internship, so you can really get to know the field and also different fields. Like you have to do one internship in the hospital, but also one in just normal practice.
Okay, there's some very interesting question next. Which is the average salary of PT in Netherlands? Do you know this information?
I think it's 2,400 a month before taxes, so a little bit less after taxes are done. I'm not really sure. I know
Which percent of tax you have in your country?
21. Yeah, 21. But I think you can also be a private physical therapist and then you earn a lot more. But if you work for a company, then it's I think max 2,400.
Okay.
As you said before, you have insurance system in your country, right?
Yeah.
And this insurance have like a rehabilitation package, as I understand, right? What is included this package?
Yeah, if you got into an accident or have a chronic disease, then you have 20 physiotherapy appointments in a year. If you need more than that, then you have to pay yourselves. But that's only in case one of those cases, so after surgery or after an accident. If you have just your basic insurance, physiotherapy is not covered, so you have to pay for everything yourself. If you have a big insurance package, so if you're like, oh, I need more, then you can cover like 9 or 12 of my physiotherapy appointments. And that depends on the insurance company. I think we have like 10 or 20 insurance companies in our country. And some give 9, some give 12, some give 15. It really depends on which one you're at. Yeah. But then you also have to pay the insurance company more, sadly. Yeah.
Thank you so much. About home rehabilitation in Netherlands. Do you have home rehab?
Yeah, we have some.
A private?
Not that much because it's a little more expensive. But for we have at my internship, I saw like patients who came out of a severe depression and just started to get back into society. So we came to their house and we did like walks with them around the block because they hadn't moved for like 4 months. So that's one service we provide. Also elderly patients at home or after they got out of the hospital and they can't come to the practice yet, then we also visit them.
Yeah, thank you. The next question, does your country have a good education system, on your opinion?
Yes and no. Sometimes I think it's a little bit lacking, especially if it comes to basic reading skills, because how students read right now is really going down compared to I think 10 years ago, so they need to improve that. For university, my university I'm really happy about because we focus a lot on communication and practical exams and practical internships, so you know actually how it works, not just reading about it. But I think also that depends per university. I don't think every university does that.
Thank
I
you.
don't know, I like it here. The only part is like it's quite expensive compared to the rest of Europe. We are one of the only countries in Europe where you have to pay tuition. Yeah, so that's a downside.
Okay. Does studying make you tired? It is hard work to study, and how can a student get energy for study?
Yeah, I think it also depends per student. I know I had a really hard time the first year because it's just a lot of new information. And then once the second year rolls around, you know a little bit what's expected and then it's easier. And I'm also kind of the student that doesn't say no. So if people say like, oh, you want to help out with this, then yes, I will do it. So at one point I was working an extra day in internship while doing 3 extra courses and projects. So that's not really what you want. But I think it's important, especially if you talk about mental health of the students and that they don't get overworked and into a burnout, for example, that the school has really great connections with the teachers and also an on-hand psychologist, someone who is trained in how to deal with people who have fear of failure or exam fear, stuff like that. And it is getting better at my university. They had some great teachers who were able to help with that, but sometimes it's kind of difficult to find them. Like, you need to know who to talk to in order to find them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. I want to ask, do we have like a licensing exam for implementation or practical activities? Do you have national exam to prove your knowledge time by time?
No. All you need is your university degree, and you need to register in the big register, it's called here. It's just so you the providers can see you have a good code of conduct, so you haven't been arrested or stuff like that, and that you actually graduated your university. And then once every 2 years, I think, you need to get extra points and extra courses in order to stay up to date with all the new information. If you don't do that, if you don't get extra courses, then you're not registered anymore and you can't be a physical therapist.
Thank you. What if the physical therapists gain these courses time by time, by they don't have practice, for example, for 10 years? Do you think can they be physical therapists or not?
No, I don't think it's allowed. I think a year or 2 years is the maximum that if you're not practicing your profession, then 1 year, 2 years, okay. But if you do it longer than that, then they say, no, you can't be a physical therapist anymore. You need to do an extra course or an extra education in order to start again.
Okay. There one interesting question for you. What is your favorite subject and why this subject is your favorite?
Ooh, it differs from time to time. Now I'm really interested in scoliosis, so like the curvature of the spine. Yes, I saw it a lot in internship, and I think it's really interesting to see how they changed it with exercise, but also with like the corsets that press. And for a general subject, I really like the neurological diseases and how do you call it? Afflictions people have, like Parkinson's, MS. And now I'm starting to work with that in my internship. So I'm curious if I like the practice as much as I like the theory, because I haven't done the practice in that area yet.
Thank you. How do you see physical therapy evolving over the next 10 years?
Ooh, I think it's gonna get a lot less hands-off. Like, a lot of people it's already kind of moving that way, but a lot of physiotherapists still offer massages, still do a lot of electrostimulation, or it's called again with the needles, dry needling. And I think that's gonna go more and more away, and we're gonna focus more on more psychosocial. This, how is your brain functioning with your body, and actually exercises to strengthen your muscles or relax your muscles.
Good, thank you. The next question, what strengths and skills do you possess to be a successful physical therapist?
Oh, I think you need to be able to keep your calm, because you're gonna have patients that are gonna be mad about something. Either it's their disease or the way they didn't expect the treatment to turn out. And then you are the point that they're gonna scream at. So keeping your calm and being professional in that area is really important. You need to be able to a little bit handle stress and be able to see, like, you're gonna see some pretty gnarly stuff sometimes. People who just had an operation and can't walk, and then you're gonna help them walk again. So you kind of need to be able to filter that and not bring it home with you, because then it's gonna be heavy if you're gonna deal with that all the time. And also just enjoy it, be a people person, love listening to their stories, and get fun out of just working with people. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. What do you think? What do you believe is the biggest challenge for working as a physical therapist?
I think for the Netherlands, it's quite the way our health system works now, because it's not insured for most of the patients, and then it's really expensive.
Oh.
I mean, I had a lot of patients in my internship who were like, yeah, I need another session, but I can't pay for it. That's kind of difficult. And also the government is trying to have a set set income for the physiotherapists, even if we do a lot more work. So it's kind of uneven. I don't know if I explained it right.
It's okay. I want to ask you one question. Can you describe any interesting volunteer or clinical experience which you had before?
Like everything, or
in general?
You have something specific in mind?
Interesting experience from your small practice or big practice?
For me, I'm working on like improving health literacy right now. So patients with low health literacy, how can I be a better physiotherapist and explain things to them? And I was working with a patient who was, I think, about 80 and had a lot of low back pain. And she kept coming in. She is an overuser, so she would work out every day, 3 times a day. Well, technically she should also rest in between. And the exercises that she does should be natural movements, not just wildly flinging her limbs around. So at one point during therapy, I think it was our 5th session, she was actually starting to have some fun in moving. So I was doing exercises with her and we were sort of doing the squatting movements. And I said like, oh, if you can imagine like sitting down, or you can do this in front of the TV or with your friends. And she's like, yeah, I've been doing this for a while and it's starting to be fun and I'm not having that much back pain anymore. And for me, the realization like, oh, if you actually work with these patients and they can continue with their normal life without pain, that was really beautiful to see. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I want to ask you, is it possible to have to open own rehabilitation center in Nederland for physical therapists who has age before the 30?
Yeah, it is. I know a lot of people who start their own company after they graduate. And it's kind of difficult because you have to figure out a lot of the taxes and economics yourself. And you don't have that if you're on payroll, so that's easier. But also it's more easy to generate your own income and see the patients you want to see. So I know a lot of physiotherapists, especially in the sports area, who become their own boss and then just work where they want to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, cool. What do you think about Ukrainian students which are coming here?
I'm really happy you guys are here. Yeah, because I was part of the planning to get you all here, so it was really exciting, and I hope you have a great time here.
Cool.
At least I had a lot of fun in Amsterdam. That was funny.
Well, thank you so much for this interview. I really appreciate your membership in this interview. Well, thank you so much. Well, guys, that's all.